All right, guys, stocks we're watching for Monday, July 18th. Starting off with the Daily SPY, we had a nice gap up on Friday and a very strong close. God, I think the Dow was up like 560 or 650 or something. The Dow was up big. But we had a really nice day in the chat room. I took a few screenshots of just some of the timestamped calls for those that weren't there. Wayne gave us SIGA through 14. And I took the screenshot kind of middle of the day, so it doesn't really show you how high it went. I think it went to about 15, 14.99 actually. I just looked it up. But again, another one that kind of worked right away and then took its time. But love those whole number inflection point entries. Brian V gave us EVTL right there around 370. Again, worked right away. I ended up taking a late day trade in that one too. I'll go to 5-minute candles and show you. I mentioned in chat that it was holding up really well and had that look, right? I ended up making some nice money on this pop right here. I actually grabbed it through 480. I didn't give that specific price, but much like I did on Friday, geez, I can't even remember the symbol now. Kind of the same deal. No, it wasn't Friday. It was PETZ one day last week. Now I'm getting myself jumping all over the place. It was right before this big pop PETZ. Basically said it had that look for a late day pop. I'm paraphrasing. Let me try that again. EVTL kind of did the same speech, and from 480 went pretty quickly to 540. Again, didn't make an official call, but I did make a really nice trade in it. And I had some thank yous on that one, so I know some of y'all caught it as well. And then USEA, call of the day, Kevin P right here. Second mouse through 550. It's holding up pretty well. That was after being on the morning gap playlist. Went to like 554 or something, and then kind of got real tight. So that's a perfect second mouse setup. And keep in mind, these are 5-minute candles. So from the 550 break, within 10 minutes, it was up well over $1, which is a huge gain for a day trade. And there's the daily on USEA. So it ended up, go back to fives. It ended up even going a little bit higher. I went to 738 later in the day. But great call by Kevin P on that one. And let's just go right into what we're watching for Monday. Well, let me throw out my disclaimer. Not my disclaimer, but my explanation of what we're about. So pause the video if you want to read the whole thing. I'm not going to read it to you, but the shorthand version, the Cliff's Notes version, is I'm a day trader. I'm in cash every night, and I look for A+ setups intraday on basically stocks on this list and morning gappers. All right, so what are we watching to possibly trade on Monday? USEA had that big move. Closed well off of its highs, though. But it really didn't like tank at the end of the day. It was just sort of slowly flagging sideways. Certainly very interested in it. It's only been trading for a couple weeks, it looks like. So definitely one of my top watches. EVTL, one of my top watches, big volume. Actually had, some news with, I think, American Airlines. It's a nice sounding headline. And, it's coming off of all-time lows, basically. So that is a big move. We may get a follow-through day. And even if we don't, I'll probably be watching that one all week. PINS, which is Pinterest, just closed in a stake of, 9% by, I don't remember who now. But had the gap up and held up pretty well, so we're certainly going to keep an eye on that one. RHE, sort of a wild card because it's a lower volume stock. I mean, it did over 17 million 4 days ago, but the volume has really fallen off. But the stock's holding up, so it does make it worth a chart, in my opinion. AMC, a lot of shorts in the name. You kind of have maybe a 6-week, 5-week, 6-week cup and handle forming. And with a lot of shorts in the name. And, you're starting to see movies kind of popping again, right? So there may be something there. Let's keep our eyes on AMC. GOEV had the gap up, sold off, another gap up. It hit 5 both times. Friday, a quiet inside day, so certainly an interesting setup there. PETZ, I'll have to zoom in so you can see this one better. You had the pop back here. June 23rd to 373. Then on July 13th to 364, and now it's kind of flagging. I suspect this is going to break one way or the other. So if it starts to turn up and we get a setup, maybe a long play. If it breaks down this way, I probably won't be watching it anymore, right? So it doesn't cost me anything to have it on a chart. SIGA is just sitting right at a breakout point and the whole number 15. Let's keep a close eye on that one this week. PLRX had the gap up and offering somewhere in there and is holding up really well since the offering. NCNA, a nice pop back here. Then it looked like, okay, that pop's done. It's going to tank back down to here and it's holding up kind of well. Stuff like that catches my attention. INMD had big volume for a couple days here. It really made a pretty nice move. When you look at the low of this day, 25.52, and the high of the next day, 29.44, that's a nice little percentage move. Now you've just got a couple days lower on declining volume, so I'm kind of treating it as a bounce play. Keep in mind, we have two kinds of bounce plays. One, a stock that's been beaten up severely for several days or maybe several weeks down into support. That's one. That's a super weak stock. And then the other kind of bounce play we look for is a recent strong stock that's pulled back on lower volume. So that's where this one falls in, the second idea there. And then lastly, if I can type, CLVS. It's just a recent high flyer that's come back down for several days, hasn't broken that early high that we look for, I don't think, since it was 325. And now it's back down in the buy zone between the 8 and the 20-day moving average, so it's a decent little setup for a bounce play. I'm done babbling. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll see everybody in the chat room on Monday.